Which youth development system is better, the American or the European one? A lot of people are bashing the AAU recently and its focus on individual skills, but the trend suddenly inverts when the talk goes past high school. It is no secret, the Europeans are flooding the NCAA. Egor Demin, Kasparas Jakučionis, and many others. Top international prospects of 2025 draft class are joining colleges in the US. So what's going on? In this video, I'm gonna be looking into 4 reasons of why Europe is losing its biggest talents to the NCAA.
Why? What's going on in Utah?
Recruiting players from overseas used to be a niche in the USA. Only a few of the biggest colleges would do it, with Gonzaga standing out in front of them all. But now, for example, last summer, Arizona had half of their roster filled with guys born outside of the US. Kentucky had scouted a lot in Canada lately, but adding a Croatian big guy Zvonimir Ivisic was a big deal in 2023. UCLA added 5 international prospects last summer, with 2 of them predicted to go in the draft this or next summer. Is it because the NBA itself has gone international, or what's going on? Okay, so first of all, the talent gap between the USA and the rest of the world has shrunk. The world has simply become better at the game of basketball. There's more international players in the NBA each year, so to no surprise, the same is happening everywhere, including college basketball. Scouting departments have grown larger, looking for potential gems in every part of the world. But why the American coaches want to bring players from overseas? Well, one of the reasons hide behind the rising narrative of Europeans growing up in a different environment. Some would say the better environment, which allows guys to understand the importance of other skills. For example, moving without the basketball, cutting, passing the ball, or setting the screen.
Warrior behind the legs. Oh my goodness! That!
Managers also firmly believe they can coach these newcomers harder since they are used to it in Europe more. But the American coaches simply wanting Europeans isn't surely enough to make them transfer, right? And the main driving point to all of this is obviously, yeah, you guessed it right, money. A couple of years ago, NCAA introduced NIL, name, image, likeness rules, where a student can basically get paid for playing. And it was only right, since universities make millions or even billions of money through sports, the system was finally made for the people that actually perform to get their share of income. Yes, with the American football and basketball bringing in the majority of the money, only these two have felt significant impact so far. It is said that each school in 5 top conferences of basketball get to distribute around 20 million to their players. That not only allows them to pay huge buyouts for young players to European giants, like Real Madrid for example, but also paying the top 18-year-olds like Egor Demin around $1 million per season. Demin is a fluid 6'9" playmaker with dynamic shot making and passing ability, while his size allows to guard multiple positions. He is the exact prospect scouts are looking to find each day. But around 1 million per year? That sounds just ridiculous. I mean, there is no way he was getting nowhere near this amount even in Spain, even playing for a giant like Real Madrid. That's what mid-tier EuroLeague players get, not young phenoms. Another top prospect in 2025 draft class, Lithuanian Kasparas Jakučionis, committed to Illinois in late May, just days after being selected to Adidas' Next Generation All-Tournament team.
Jakučionis, ridiculous pass!
Combo guard decided to leave Barcelona of all teams and is rumored to make around $750K next year, as he's projected to be a first-round pick by many draft mock boards. However, listen to this. It is not only the top-tier talents that are getting these insane offers. Going down the list to potential second-rounders or guys who at best will have an average career in Europe, you have 18-year-old schools getting offers of $3,000 to $4,000 annually. It is impossible to think any one of them are getting this much money in Europe at this age. Hell, I'll go even further. Some of these guys are never making such amount of money in one season in their entire career. Because in sports, it is super hard to predict how your career might turn out. What if they get a major injury? What if they never fulfill their potential? What if they never get into a right spot and don't get lucky? We have to understand one thing. The new NCAA rules are giving guys an opportunity to earn life-changing money because of their future potential. Who wouldn't want to cash out on that immediately? And in Europe, there's simply no possibility of doing so. First of all, professional teams have 1,000 times less money than in the States. As I've mentioned before, top talents from top clubs like Real Madrid or Barcelona are moving to States, and I think that's not going to change soon.
Jakub Jonas not shy to shoot.
In fact, I believe it is only going to get worse if you're looking from the European point of view. Europe simply doesn't have the money. Basketball isn't #1 sport in the continent, it doesn't generate earnings. Generational prospects can earn $100K per year. But if you can do that in Europe, there is a high chance $1 million is waiting for you in the NCAA now, since quite possibly you are projected a top 10 pick. Okay, so money plays a huge part, but that's not all. But before we look into other reasons, a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Hostinger. Their AI website builder can help anyone to create a unique one in 10 minutes. Before, you needed to hire 3 to 4 people to make a website for you. Now, you are just a few clicks away of doing it all by yourself with the help of Hostinger. You can choose any of the 150 templates they offer and edit everything from your phone. Or maybe you're thinking about selling something. You can do that as well, and don't worry about additional transactional fees as Hostinger doesn't have any. You can have all that and more today. Just use our code BNews10 for an additional 10% off and start your online journey now. So other players who don't get a shot to go to the NBA are usually not good enough to get playing time immediately after turning pro. And while development systems in general in Europe are great, the bridge between the youth and pro teams are usually too wide for a lot of these kids. Mistakes are hardly allowed in pro teams, and most coaches prefer seasoned vets over young kids who are prone to mistakes. Opposite to NCAA, not many teams care about growing a young talent here in Europe after they turn 18. Owners and coaches care about wins, since those translate into more or less, if you lose, sponsors for the next season. There are few to none incentives to play these young kids big minutes. And the most telling example is the continent's biggest tournament, the EuroLeague. This season, there were only 3 players who were available for the Rising Star Award and averaged more than 10 minutes per game. Most of those guys just rode the bench the entire year. Another argument for moving to the NCAA is the individual development factor. When it comes to facilities and the amount of coaches per player, there is an immense gap between the US and Europe. Every international prospect that goes on a tour to visit these schools is shocked after seeing the conditions they can possibly be in. Gyms are amazing and they're open 24/7. You can have a personal trainer assigned specifically to you, while some teams in Europe only have 4 to 5 staff members in total. Also, many of these young guys and their entourage think that being in the NCAA can lead you to having an easier path for turning pro in the NBA. The high numbers of international guys in the draft lately doesn't show it's necessary, but sometimes it is often difficult to pass on the kind of exposure that a high major D1 program can offer. That plus money we talked about before made the NCAA an attractive option for Egor Demin, Jakučionis, or Ismail Diagne, who committed to Gonzaga. Lastly, there is another reason of why the Europeans are flooding the NCAA, and I would call it the self-awareness argument. Not everyone who goes to NCAA is a major talent. Not everyone will make the NBA or have an elite career in Europe. There's simply not enough space for everyone. So going to NCAA means a potential chance to get a good degree and a great job in the US after it much easier, especially in basketball. There is a million examples of players who go pro, don't have an amazing career, and later just come back to their old university. For example, remember Chris Jenkins? He was a Villanova player and actually hit the game-winning buzzer beater to win the 2016 title. Later, he went pro, but managed to survive in the G League for only 1 year before moving to Germany. After a short stint there, he came back, and in 2020 he got a job in his alma mater in athlete development field. To compare, if you're trying to go pro in Europe, it is super hard and nearly impossible to do both at the same time. Get a college degree and become a pro player. So usually guys only do one, and if your career doesn't turn out as successful as you wanted, they have to start from zero at 25 or even 30 years old. So after hearing all these arguments, I just hope you have a better sense of why Europeans are flooding the NCAA. And unfortunately for Europe, I just don't see this trend stopping soon. Is there anything Europe can do? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one.